And welcome to From Our Correspondents. In this edition, I will take you on a tour around the country to get you all the stories you may have missed in the course of the week. My name is Richard Kwejenyaku. Welcome and be my guest for the next hour. Begin from the Ashanti region, where Kwesi Debra reports that inadequate waste bins make waste collection difficult, and more so when it has to do with different kinds of waste. A lot of money and time are spent on separating waste for recycling. Fortunately, students of Obuasi Senior High Technical School are addressing the challenge by developing an automatic waste separator. Here's more in this report.
It's not waste in our communities, especially in Ghana, where people do later. We came out with this automatic waste bin, where it will sort out waste like plastic, metals, papers, wood, and then wet materials.
So these are the various light indicators. This is for the plastic, this is for the paper, this is for the metal, and this is also for the wet materials. So this is the various sensors. This is the wet, which detects the wet materials. This is the capacitive, which detects the paper and the wood. And this is the inductive, which detects the metals. So this is the 4-chambered collector that rotates for the appropriate chamber to be in line with the automatic door. Then we drop the waste. So this chamber, this first chamber is the plastic. This one is for the metal. This is for the wet materials. And this is also for the paper. And this is the solar panel it uses. That makes it sustainable because it does not require any electricity. So this is how it works. In her hand, she has the metal, the plastic, the paper, and the wet materials. So she will show the plastic to the sensors. Then the plastic light automatically comes on for the door to open, then you drop your waste. And for the wet, she will show it to the sensor. Then the light turns on. Then you drop your waste.
And this bin can be used in schools, industries, hospitals, and universities.
In a few years to come, we intend to increase the size of the solar panel so that it would enable us to generate more power.
My name is Solomon Incho, and I'm the leader of the team. So somewhere last year, UNDP, the Coca-Cola Foundation, they put in an application for schools and individuals to apply for waste management in the country. And then we applied for it, and fortunately, we won the competition. We actually first runners up, and this was our project. Our project was a paperwork, so we came to build it.
Now let's do some stories on roads in our communities, because for the month of August, Joy News has put a spotlight on roads. So you realize that for the entire month of August, our reporters have been on our roads telling us stories about the nature of such roads. I'll be sorry from the Upper East report that between the year 2009 and 2016, the people of the Upper East region had been lamenting the deplorable nature of the Bolgatanga-Boku Road. In that period, pressure groups organized several demonstrations to put pressure on government to construct the road. In July 2016, the NDC government, led by John Dramani Mahama, awarded the road on contract and cast off for its construction all the way to Pumakom in the Pusiga district. After winning power from the NDC in the 2016 election, the MPP government continued with the construction of the road, despite initially halting the construction over contract irregularities. Abesori traveled on that stretch and has more in this report.
The 117-kilometer road from the Bolgatanga municipality passes through 4 other districts: Bolgatanga East, Nabdam, Boko West, and Binduri. It then goes through the Boko municipality to the Ghana-Togo border town of Pulmakum in the Pusiga district. Now, a lot of work has been done on this road, and today, traveling on this road has become smoother than it used to be. I'm going to drive from Bolgatanga to Boko to find out how smooth the road has become and to find out from commuters how they feel now about the progress of work on this road so far. It will be a journey of 81 kilometers. The first sighting of ongoing construction work is at the bridge over a part of the White Volta between Bolgatanga and Zwarungu. It is called the Kola. Peter Dagadu is the resident engineer and explains the nature of the work being done here.
We have 117 kilometers of road, which has been apportioned into 14 lots. And the Kula Bridge is lot 2. Bolgatan is lot 1, which we are yet to start. And that is a dual carriage, 4 lane, 2 in and 2 out. It's a twin bridge of 80-meter long span.
Back to our journey from Bolgatanga to Boko. The Bolgatanga-Zwarungu stretch of the road has now been tarred, and it is a very smooth drive compared to what used to be a bumpy, uncomfortable drive on a pothole-ridden road which was prone to accidents and claiming numerous lives. The drive remains the same from Zwarungu in the Bolgatanga East District to Nangodi in the Nabdam District and to Tili in the Boko West District. At Tili, there is an untarred section stretching about 600 meters. Another bridge is being constructed on this section over the Red Volta.
The next one is the Red Volta, a single carriageway, also 80-meter span. In total, we have done about 45%. But if you look at it solely in terms of the road, we've done more than 70%.
After this untarred section, another smooth drive begins with tarred road from Tili to Zebila, still in the Boko West District. We pass the Zebila township and a few minutes later come across an untarred but more troubled stretch at Kobori. This section of the road was washed away in the year 2020 when torrential rains coupled with the spillage of the Bagre Dam in Burkina Faso resulted in floods in many parts of the Upper East region. This untarred section stretches up to the bridge over the White Volta, which links the Boko West District to the Binduri District. Massive construction is ongoing of this bridge.
And here, also a single carriageway, 180-meter span. Where we are standing now is Lot 10, which is the White Water Bridge.
We cross the portion under construction, which is about 500 meters long, onto a pothole-ridden stretch, which continues for about another 500 meters. Then again, a third stretch begins from Gunwoko to Palwega before Boko. Inside Boko, the drive is a struggle. The Boko township roads are terrible, with dozens of potholes as drivers and tricycle operators try to meander their way to their destinations. For drivers who commute between Bolgatanga and Boko, the road is now far better than it used to be.
Let's continue with our road stories and let's cross from the Upper East region to the Northeast region, where Ilyasu Tanko reports that contrary to claims of massive road construction in the Northeast region, the government is yet to complete a single road project in the Nalerigu-Gambaga constituency. This is according to the Member of Parliament, Alhaji Baba Seidu Isifu. Mr. Isifu made a comment after paying a working visit to several parts of the constituency earlier this week. The MP accused the president and his government of being insensitive to the plight of his constituents for failing to deliver on their promises after winning power. Ilyasu Tanko's report from Nanarugu.
The Wundua Road is a stretch of the 70-kilometer Langbinsi-Wundua-Pasong Highway connecting Langbinsi to link the East Mampresi municipality to Karga district to the south. The contract for the construction of the road was awarded in 2015 by the NDC government but was abrogated in 2016 as soon as the NPP took over the reins of government. The contract was said to have been re-awarded in 2017. However, 5 years later, there is still no indication of any construction works on the road. As part of a Joy News project assessing the state of the country's roads, the resident has said the deplorable condition of the road, coupled with the presence of armed robbers, had brought socio-economic activities to a standstill as they were unable to transport their farm produce, trade with other communities, and access emergency services. The chief of the community, Na Abdullahi Chimsi, while expressing his frustration, said all promises made to him since 2017 by the government have turned out to be a complete deceit and threatened to lead a boycott of the next general elections if the road was not fixed. The vice president in 2016 pleaded with us to vote for his party to come to power. He pledged to fix the road in 3 months. But 5 years after we helped him to win power, we are yet to see him around. The regional minister was also here 2 months ago to deceive us that the road was to be fixed soon. There are no indications to show that the promise is credible. We are sick and tired of their endless deceit, and we intend to end it for them in 2024. Following the report, the Member of Parliament, as part of a media tour of the constituency, led the delegation to the community to get first-hand details of the situation and inform them about his efforts towards the construction of the road. He met with the chief, the youth, and other stakeholders in the community to express his empathy for the situation while giving his assurance to support them to demand accountability from the government. After inspecting the road, he addressed the media.
It is a very worrying situation. You have gone through from Langbinsi to Wundu and you have gotten the feel of a road that was awarded on contract in 2015 and abandoned since then, to the weather condition, to the hazards of the rain and everything. You've seen it. Clearly, this road has turned to one village, one dam. You have seen it. We went into several pockets of water, which shouldn't have been the case. It is a very worrying situation. And clearly, as a member of parliament, I'm deeply troubled because of the circumstance of this, my people.
The MP also stated the steps he had taken so far in Parliament to get the road fixed.
But I filed a question on the floor of Parliament, and that was in November, 15th November 2021. And the minister appeared and alluded to the fact that this road was awarded on contract and it was supposed to take 2 years to be completed. The minister confirmed that 15% of the work was done. And when they came to power, they decided to abrogate that contract. What did the contractor do? I'm even not surprised. I will not be surprised to hear that even these box culverts that they did, you've seen a number of them. Look at one of them. The contractor was not paid. So finally, he had to abandon site. And this is our situation.
He assured his constituent that he will continue to mount pressure on the government to ensure their fair share of the national treasury.
If you extend it to 36-282D, you will find that these people have a legitimate call, and the government has virtually neglected them. It is a worrying situation as an MP, and I'm very troubled. And I'll continue to mount pressure on this government. I will not slip. I'll continue to draw the minister to the floor of Parliament to engage him, to show us concrete steps, very deliberate concrete steps that he is going to deploy for this road to be.
From Wundua, Ilyasu Tanko reporting for Joy News.
Away from that, the acting OT Regional Director of Education is calling on parents to provide for their wards, especially the girl child, in order to prevent them from becoming vulnerable. According to her, the children become more vulnerable when they are allowed to fend for themselves, especially the girl child. Peter Seno has more in this report.
the students, especially our girls, we know they have special needs. The sanitary pads need to be provided. The panties, underwears need to be provided. We don't need to allow these girls to be taken advantage of by men.
That was the acting regional director for education, Nana Kubiajobakatai II, speaking on the sideline of an inaugural ceremony for Biakuye Community Senior High School. Her comments were born from the speech delivered by the headmistress of the school, Christiana Jifa Fujo. According to the headmistress, parents are no longer providing for their wards, thinking government was going to provide as part of the free senior high school program.
Inability of parents and guardians to provide basic needs such as toiletries, provisions, math set, and textbook for their wards, especially the girl child. Most of the girls admitted into the boarding house this year reported to school with virtually empty chobuses, and in some cases, just a few of the prescribed kits, thinking the rest will be provided as the free senior high school policy. It is our plea that enough education is given to parents and guardians on what they should do to support the implementation of the free SHS policy.
The school, which was started as a girls' school, was redesignated a mixed school to provide for the educational needs of children in the catchment area. The school has a current population of 171, with 148 girls and 23 boys. Out of 420 students placed in the school this year, only 69 of them were enrolled, with only 3 boys. This, the headmistress said, was likely due to the unavailability of a dormitory facility for boys.
Out of the total population of 420 students placed in the school by the computerized school selection and placement system this year, only 69 students made up of 66 girls and 3 boys were successfully enrolled in the school. This unfortunate situation may be attributed to the lack of dormitory for the boys and accompanying facilities such as dining hall, benches, and well-equipped kitchen for the running of a full boarding system.
The DC for the Biakuye district, Millicent Kabuki Kabu, called on teachers not to turn their female students into sex machines.
And to you, the teachers, this also goes out to you. Parents have brought their children from very, very far away distances. Please treat them like your children. I know they are not your servants. And for some of the schools, what they do is to turn the students into their servants. And then at the end of the day, entice them with some little coins. And some of your colleagues turn these girls into their sex machines. Please, it is not good enough.
The acting regional director for education, Nana Kubiajobakatai II, has called on parents to be more responsible in the provision of the needs of their wards.
Even though the guideline is there that even when you become pregnant, you can still remain in school, we are talking also about advocating on prevention. And one way to prevent pregnancy is for our parents to take their responsibilities seriously. When it comes to buying school materials, for example, exercise books, notebooks, and mathematical sets, science materials, and all that, parents also have a role to play.
Peter Sanu for Joy News.
Moving on, the Vice-Chancellor of the Simon Diek-Dongji University for Business and Integrated Development Studies, Professor Philip Duku-Osei, has bemoaned the lack of a well-equipped library for the university. The situation is said to be affecting studies there. An ultramodern library complex that was started some 10 years ago has a construction stalled. Speaking at a meeting with the British High Commissioner to Ghana, Harriet Thompson, Professor Philip Duku-Osei appealed to the British High Commission to help in the completion of the project to benefit the students. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
One of the biggest challenges ceded to the Simon Diek-Dongji University of Business and Integrated Development Studies SDDU bids after it was granted autonomy from the University for Development Studies, UDS, is a maze of uncompleted projects dotted in the work campus. Due to the delay in completing the projects, coupled with the inadequate infrastructure at the campus, authorities at the SDDU bids are sometimes forced to hold lectures and examinations at the uncompleted structures. Westmore, an ultra-modern library complex that was started some 10 years ago, has reached an advanced stage of completion, but work for some time has stalled. Authorities at the SDDU bids are therefore worried about it, and at a meeting with the British High Commissioner to Ghana, Harriet Thompson, Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Philip Duku-Osai, appealed to help in the completion of the project.
Our university has the potential to grow and to absorb the teeming number of youngsters who need to be educated. And having a modern, well-equipped with Wi-Fi and every other electronic gadget you can think about will be an asset to the university. And it is one of the key areas that I would like to highlight as a possible area for discussion and for support in a certain way.
Other issues that the authorities opened up was the issue of scholarship for students and lecturers who wish to pursue further studies, the migration of the youth to the southern Gulf of the country in search of non-existent jobs, and the proposal of an environmental change and sustainable institute.
It is facilitation of cooperation with UK universities and funding agencies. We are a beginner, and so facilitation is important. And where it is possible, some special windows. And I can assure you, Your Excellency, that if we have this kind of helping hand, you would witness the unleashing of a dynamic, the potential of what we have here, which is a young, dynamic, resourceful human resource capacity. And in this context, we will be willing and able to actually compete favorably, working together with UK universities.
The British High Commissioner to Ghana, Harriet Thompson, has this response.
You mentioned the cost of a master's programme in the UK. It is significant, and for a lot of people, I should say in the UK as well, to be honest, it's prohibitive. And that's why the Chevening Scholarship Programme is so impressive in my mind, because it provides that study free of charge. And through the application process, potential candidates are asked how they will bring the learning from that programme of study back to their home country in order to benefit their home country. So it's really focused on world-class education from the UK and bringing that benefit back to whichever is the country of origin for these students who come. As well as the Chevening Scholarship Programme, there's also a Commonwealth Scholarship Programme. So there's those two avenues, and again, looking on out, I mean, you could just put those two terms into any search engine, to be honest.
Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
Before we take a break, let's move to the Western region, where in Natalia Kwanzaa report that the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Mavis Our Correspondents, has disclosed that plans are underway to ensure fishers are imprisoned when caught engaged in illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing practices. The sector minister, speaking to the media in Takoradi, explains that a decision to imprison recalcitrant fishers is the best way to go. There is more in this report.
The sector minister, Mavis Howard Kumson, who was happy about the gains made from the close season, however bemoaned the activities of some recalcitrant fishers who continue to use illegal, unreported and unregulated means to fish. She says her ministry will start discussions on making imprisonment of fishers part of their law. She has also vowed to stop the help given to fishers during close season if the activities of illegalities persist.
We can all attest to the fact that we are slowly or gradually recovering the depleted fish that we've lost in our seas. Most of the fisher folks are talking about bumper harvest after the close season. We still have issues with them. They are still doing the illegal activities, unreported activities. And we think it is not good. I want to seize this opportunity to plead with them that they should stop those activities, because we will not hesitate to arrest them and prosecute them as well. Currently, when they are arrested and taken to court, they will only be fined and then they are released. We're going to have discussion and make sure it's also going to be part of our laws that when you are engaged and you are arrested, you have to be imprisoned at least for 3 months or 6 months maximum. And then that may serve as a deterrent for them. That's some of the measures. I also told them that if they continue doing that, then we can also come out, to support them with the relief items that we've been giving them all these years. You can see the kind of items we have behind here. So if government will spend money to get you all these items, and then at the end of the day, you still go back and do your old things that are not healthy for the sea, then when we continue to support you, we will have to stop it.
Speaking at a ceremony to hand over some relief items to fish processors and traders in the Western region, Mavis Hawakumson disclosed that Ghana is engaging its neighboring countries to harmonize the close season for mutual gains.
We've had engagement with our neighboring countries, that is Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and then Benin. We've had discussions. A week or two ago, I was even in Cote d'Ivoire, and they are all coming on board. Cote d'Ivoire will have even observed the close season this year, but they couldn't do their stakeholders consultation well. And so we went there to have, tell them what we are doing. So they have promised to come on board next year. Same applies to Benin and Togo. So next year, 2023, we're going to have the close season, observe it at the same time.
Acting President of the National Canoe Council, Nana Jojo Solomon, is of the view that the decision by the minister will save the fishing industry.
Whatever laws or regulations that are put in place are for our own good. We are the first beneficiaries before the Ghanaian populace or the good people of Ghana, and therefore, if you tell a fisherman to do aquaculture, which is also fish, they won't do it. All we know is about capture fishery. And therefore, we need to protect the industry. Nobody from the Ministry of Fisheries or Fisheries Commission or from elsewhere outside industry does fishing. So the destruction is done by nobody else but our own fishermen. So we are just pleading, you understand? And for how long can we continue pleading and pleading with them? Do you understand? So all we are saying is that we should begin to be participants and be well involved in the industry, because nobody from outside can profess to love us better than ourselves.
The relief items were made up of 200 deep freezers, 1,700 aluminium basins, and 500 bundles of wire mesh. For Joy News, in Athalia Kwansa, Takoradi.
From our correspondent, we'll take a short break. We shall be back with more. Stay with me. Welcome back from the break. We move to the Upper East region, where 2 communities in the Galamsey district of the Upper East have been resettled by the Cardinal Namdini Mining Limited, a gold mining company operating in the area. New homes have been built for the residents of Byong and Digari Accra sites in order to relocate them to pave way for large-scale gold mining, which will cover the areas where their old communities are located. Land and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abujinapo, who was there to commission the new community, said government was committed to ensuring that mining companies operate in line with all minerals and mining laws of the country. Correspondent Abesori has more.
Cardinal Namdini Mining Limited was licensed to go into large-scale gold mining in the Galamsey district of the Upper East region in the year 2017. Since then, the mining company had been dialoguing with the chiefs and people of the Byong and Digari Accra site communities in order to properly resettle the residents to pave way for exploration. The company has now built 2 new residential areas where 117 families made up of over 1,000 people from the 2 communities will be resettled. The new communities are made up of newly built homes that come with kitchens and washrooms, access to electricity and water supply, and community access roads. They also have schools, healthcare facilities, teachers and nurses' quarters, and places of worship. At a commissioning ceremony to hand over the new communities for resettlement, Chief Executive Officer for Cardinal Namdini Mining Limited, Luis Santana, said the ongoing partnership between the company and its local stakeholders has also culminated in the construction of a 25-kilometer public road from Balungu to the mining area at a cost of $7 million.
In acknowledgement of the potential social and environmental impact associated with such development projects, Cardinal Nandini introduced the concept of sustainability to mitigate the impact of involuntary resettlement by putting in place a livelihood restoration and vulnerable assistance programs, which are aimed at economic empowerment and social enhancement of the project-affected people. The majority of the households are beneficiaries of the Livelihood Restoration Program and have been provided with agricultural extension services, tractor services to plow their farmlands, farm inputs including maize, millet, beans, and groundnut seeds, farming tools as cutlasses, hoes, Wellington boots, spraying machines, among others.
Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu Jinapo, who was the guest of honor, said government was committed to ensuring that mining companies operate in line with all mining laws of the country.
There are laid down procedures, there are laid down laws and protocols by which these mineral resources are exploited. Whatever we have to do, myself as minister and the government of President Akufo-Addo, to ensure that the chiefs and people of Digari do benefit from this mining operation directly. We are going to do so, and I want to assure you that, I want to promise you that. Thankfully, the leadership of Cardinal Namdini have proven to be very responsible, and they themselves have assured me that they are going to increase local content and local participation in their operations.
He admonished the people of the area to desist from engaging in illegal mining and avoid getting into unnecessary confrontations with a mining company, as these could only result in violence.
I want to plead with you. Some of the occurrences we have seen in other parts of the country and Africa, those occurrences should not be our portion. Galamsey, violence, guns, and all those kinds of things, when they set into the affairs of the company and the communities, it will destroy all that we seek to build for you and for Ghana.
Speaking on behalf of the paramount chief of the Galamsey traditional area, the chief of Baare, Nab Nyakura Manti, entreated Cardinal Namdini Mining Limited to provide jobs for the youth of the Upper East region in their company.
Most of your contracts, what we are seeing today, all were awarded in Accra. You should try and consider the local contractors. Local here doesn't mean people from Galamsey alone. The region, our surrounding regions, we should benefit the fruits of whatever is coming from our lands.
The residents were expected to move into their new homes immediately. Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sori, Digari, Galamsey District.
Now from the Upper East region, let's head to the Upper West region, where the Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, Dr. John Ofori-Chirimkran, has stated that pensions are a direct reflection of the basic salaries on which contributions are paid. He therefore indicated that the higher the salaries on which members contribute, the higher the pension. For this reason, members who contribute for 35 years and above earn the maximum pension right of 60%. Dr. John Tinkra made the statement during the regional stakeholder engagement at Our Correspondent Rafiq Salam has more in this report.
The regional meetings held in Our is the last leg of the nationwide regional meetings by the leadership of the Trade Union Congress, TUC, in partnership with the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, which has already been held in the other 9 traditional regions, is aimed at sensitizing regional and district leaders of the TUC about the scheme and the benefits it offers members to enable them plan effectively towards retirement and act as peer educators. Addressing participants, the Director General of SNIT, Dr. John Ofretinkron, said such engagements help to address concerns of members, clarify misconceptions about the operations of the trust, improve transparency and accountability, as well as enhance stakeholders buy-in. He indicated that currently 25% of workers on the SNIT scheme pay monthly contributions of 55 Ghana cedis or less, stressing that if these workers were to retire on the basic salaries of 500 Ghana cedis or less, they will earn a monthly pension of 300 Ghana cedis as first pension. Dr. Ofretinkron also stated that about 66% of workers have declared basic salaries of 2,000 Ghana cedis or less to the trust. He mentioned that the pensions paid by SNIT are only a reflection of these basic salaries workers have declared. Speaking later in an interview with the media on the sidelines of the meeting, the Director General indicated that pension has been made synonymous to SNIT and clarified that SNIT is only one piece of the pension puzzle.
When you look at the amount of resources that you need to be able to have a meaningful retirement, there are a few pieces. One of them is SNIT. The other one is your Tier 2, and that is, I'm talking about the state-sponsored schemes. Then there is a Tier 3, which is also state-sponsored. Then in addition to that, as you are during your working life, most companies will provide you with a provident fund. And then as an individual, as a worker, whilst you are working, you have your own investment. A lot of people will say, oh, I'm doing this investment for my pension. Be it they have a farm or they have a shop or something like that. So it is all these things together. And in addition, even there are people who invest in their children, and then their children will also give them a little something to support. So it is all these things together that become the total resources that should be available to you for your pension. And I think a lot of the times people think that if they don't have enough money for their pension, it is because of SNIT. I want to show that the SNIT scheme is very generous and that you get a lot more than what you put in. But that notwithstanding, people should look at taking advantage of the Tier 2 and the Tier 3 and the provident funds in their companies, as well as putting together some kind of investment whilst they are working towards their retirement.
Earlier, the Deputy General Secretary of TUC, Mr. Joshua Ansah, commended the management of the trust for the continuous engagements with stakeholders.
We saw SNIT as an organization shrouded in secrecy, and many of us didn't understand the workings of SNIT, and most of us felt cheated, and we said so many negative things about SNIT. After 2019, you bear with me that the scene has changed a little. SNIT owes a duty to be transparent with us. That is the members of the scheme.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
From the Upper West region, let's take a flight down south, specifically to the Western region, where following reports of illegal mining activities on the Ofen River in the Western region, as a result of improved reporting mechanisms, the Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources in charge of mines, George Mekuduka, on Tuesday, in the company of military officers of the Operation Hall 2, stormed the site where the activities have been ongoing to destroy equipment and tools being used by the illegal miners. The Deputy Minister made a passionate appeal to the people of the Western region and Ghanaians in general to help identify and arrest people engaged in illegal mining. Correspondent Natalia Kwanzaa has the rest of the story.
In an operation aimed at reminding the illegal miners of government's uncompromising and unshakable stance against illegal mining, George Mekuduka, the Chief Executive Officer for the Minerals Commission, Martin Aisi, and the team of military officers seized and decommissioned over 800 Shamfan machines. The commander of the military team, Brigadier Amwesi Aisi, briefed the Deputy Minister and his team on operations made so far by his team since Friday when they moved to the sites.
If you look at the damage to one Shamfan can cause to a river body or the environment per day and multiply it by 830 over the period they are working until they are arrested, then you can see the sort of damage that they have been doing. And I always say that this is a national call to do it. It's not only, let's say, the military or the security agencies. Everybody, especially the media, are also part of it because you reach out more to the public. And you cannot do much if the public is not embarking on that crusade to save Ghana, our homeland. Because if there's no Ghana, there's no better. And I don't see how we can survive without river bodies and our national resources. Our forefathers have been mining years, but they never did this. We came to meet it and we are destroying everything. So we all must come on board to educate, to discuss, to make them see the necessity, why it's necessary for us to stop this thing and find better ways of being sustaining mining, which is responsible and which will save Ghana.
The Deputy Minister warned that government will not take its feet off the pedal until the canker of Galamsey is nipped in the bud. George Mekuduka assured that all water bodies in the country will enjoy permanent protection from the personnel of the Ghana Armed Forces.
We are here with the military. We started last Friday. They've been patrolling the Offing, the Ankobra, making sure that we clamp down these recalcitrants who are so determined to destroy our river bodies. It's very unfortunate that out of greed, people are destroying the heritage and future of this country. Very, very unfortunate, irrespective of the effort that government has unleashed on these people. I'm so saddened to see people just mining in a river body without any shred of responsibility of being a Ghanaian. Very sad situation. Just last week, we received a video that went viral, showcasing people mining in the river bodies without any recourse to the law. And that occasioned this operation. Let me commend the military for the effort done so far. So far, they've burnt close to 900 Shamfan. And you could imagine the cost that they have saved this nation. We're so happy that they've shown that commitment and they're resilient to fight this battle. As a country, we must commit to fighting this battle together. The government alone cannot fight this battle. We need all hands on deck to fight this battle, especially our chiefs, our opinion leaders, stakeholders, politicians. Because if you look at this jurisdiction, it falls under a district. So if we do constant supervision, constant patrolling of the area, I don't think these people will be emboldened to mine and destroy our river bodies. As a ministry, we will not relent in clamping down this recalcitrant.
The Deputy Minister charged Ghanaians to be wary of the danger of illegal mining and assist the government deal with the canker. For Joy News, in Natalia Kwanzaa, Western Region.
Now, a professor of religious and moral education in the Department of Arts Education at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Seth Asare-Danso, has called for the inclusion of religious and moral education at all levels of Ghana's educational system. He says government must necessarily make religious and moral education a core curriculum at all levels of education and urge curriculum developers, NACA, to include moral education in all its disciplines. Speaking at the inaugural lecture at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Asare Danso stated that reviewing the curriculum and including RME at all levels of education, as well as integrating moral education in all disciplines, will give pupils a solid moral foundation that will yield dividends for the entire country in future.
Governments should see faith-based organizations as partners in development in order to support them to promote sustainable development. Governments should make RME a core curriculum at all levels of education, including the preschool. If you go to the preschool, it's not part of their curriculum. They have to consider. 3, government should provide incentive packages like scholarships to attract people to pursue TVET education. Otherwise, people will not be attracted to pursue TVET education. I also recommend to curriculum developers, NACA, that NACA should review its curriculum to ensure that moral education is integrated into all disciplines in order to give pupils a solid moral foundation, because that is what Ghana needs. Otherwise, we will continue to experience moral decay in our Ghanaian society. We need to start from somewhere, or we need to go back. We should do Sankofa. The 4 universities, UG, UEW, KUST, and UDS, which are mentoring colleges of education, the other colleges of education that are placed under them, and are having few content courses in RME, need to review their curriculum. They need to review their curriculum. They need to review their curriculum. Theological institutions. Theological institutions are also encouraged to make ethics and moral philosophy a core curriculum for their students, so that they can also contribute their quota.
Now, the Petroleum Commission says government will continue to work with all key stakeholders to optimize the country's regulatory regime for the emerging trends in the petroleum, oil and gas industry. Speaking at the 8th Oil and Gas Public Lecture at the University of Cape Coast, CEO of the Petroleum Commission, Egbert Fable, indicated they will push to strengthen the fiscal regime of the country through government access to petroleum revenue. There is more in this report. Now, the president of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, Osajifo Osiadeyo Ajimambedu II, has expressed worry over the chaotic land value chain in Ghana as a result of the fraudulent cooperation of some surveyors and chiefs in the sale of lands without proper planning schemes. Speaking at the 2022 seminar of the Land Surveying Division of the Ghana Institute of Surveyors in Sunyani, the chief said the economic value of lands could be positively exploited if surveyors would act professionally, and therefore called on the Lands Commission and the surveyors body to work to bring such non-professionals to book. Precious Semevo has more in this report.
This fiscal regime provides a favorable investment framework for contractors to recover investments as petroleum costs from their respective share or shares of petroleum produced. These costs include all expenditure incurred to explore, appraise, develop, and produce petroleum as prescribed under the accounting guide to the petroleum agreement.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Petroleum Commission, Egbert Fable, indicating how the sector is being revolutionized to ensure there is value for money.
$7.36 billion United States dollars in petroleum receipts between 2010 and 2021, which is equivalent to approximately 10% of gross domestic product. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to point some of the issues that have arisen following the implementation of the existing fiscal regime. One of these is nuisance front-end load elements. Under this, many upfront payments are required to be made during the award of a block. Payments not premised on exploration success, hence increasing the contractor's risks. The second observation is that of the complex additional oil entitlement. The AOE calculation is complicated and often creates impasse between the government and contractors. Our quest to strengthen the existing fiscal regimes to make it a win-win for both Ghana and the investors. The Petroleum Commission, under the able supervision of the Ministry of Energy, is seriously considering the aforementioned issues and will come out with appropriate proposed amendments should the need arise. Let me emphasize that the risk in our basins is beneficial in institutionalizing a more favorable fiscal regime. In the light of this, the government will continue to work with all key stakeholders to optimize our regulatory regime based on emerging trends in the industry.
Director for the Institute for Oil and Gas Studies at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Simon Mariwa, says a lot needs to be done to maximize revenue in the oil and gas sector.
If you look at the oil and gas sector, it's dominated by external investors.
foreign investors. We were looking at the way in which the country can build its own capacity to get more Ghanaians to participate in it so that the benefit of the oil and gas sector will be retained in the Ghanaian economy. And so it's always important that we start talking about that. So it's not just about talking. That's why we brought people from different fields. We have the regulator, which is the Petroleum Commission. The CEO was here with us. You also have the upstream chamber. The chamber is the investor arm of the oil and gas sector, especially at the upstream, where they do the exploration, the exploitation and production of the oil and gas resources in the country.
The purpose of the lecture is to educate people and share experiences with the general public on the need to strengthen capacity so the country could have enough regulations and access to petroleum revenue in the country.
The two-day 2022 Land Surveying Division of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors seminar themed coordinated implementation and management of the local plans for the socio-economic development of Ghana is to deliberate how land surveyors would collaborate with other professionals to give their clients the best of services. Speaking as the special guest, the president of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, Osajifo Oseadeya Jimambedu II, noted that the presence of surveyors at assemblies is to ensure the implementation and coordination of schemes with the planning unit before land registrations. He, however, said the economic benefits are not being derived because some non-professionals, with the help of some chiefs, fraudulently sell lands without proper schemes.
The land value chain is a huge sector of the economy to be exploited positively than this piecemeal approach that is rather giving a way for quacks to become relevant than the trained professionals. As a traditional leader, I did not discount the crude and fraudulent cooperation of some of us and opinion leaders with tacit support of some surveyors to perpetuate land sales without planning schemes. The new Lands Act is very clear on the sanctions regime, but I also call on the Lands Commission and leadership of the LSD to peer review and bring to book professionals with respect who shamefully involved in some unhealthy practice.
The Domahene also expressed worry over the non-compliance of land regulations until developments are completed.
I'm calling on you as surveyors and land in the land agencies, all of you here, to develop a scheme where people will not go onto land to develop when they are not owners. I am not a believer of demolishing, because after all, how much do we have as citizens? So the time has come for us to enforce all the regulations that we have so that people will not build up to a point that they are graced down for them to lose, or some of them have even died in the course of all this.
The Land Surveying Division Chairman, Isaac Labi, said the nation can only achieve meaningful economic growth and development of the land when professional surveyors are involved in the positioning of the structures on the land.
The country has suffered tremendously on the environmental front, where infrastructural development has taken place haphazardly. Most of the challenges in economic growth and development can be attributed to infrastructural development. Some of the challenges are also as a result of wrongly positioned developmental projects on the surface of the land without the involvement and consultation of the land surveyor to determine the actual position of these structures. Proper planning for physical developments require maps and plans prepared by land surveyors showing the locations of existing features, infrastructures, and nature of the terrain. Most of the planning, design, and development of layout schemes do have little or no survey input. These lapses must be redressed and the correct procedure adopted to have a meaningful development of the land.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Sunyane.
And that's our show for today. Many thanks for watching. My name is Richard Kwejenya Akon. I will come your way same time next week. Have a good day.